That was an awesome talk, Eva. I kind of want to build on that and talk about ethical monetization and the value of free to play games and how you can create good incentives for people who would want to spend money. So, first, a few disclaimers. This talk is specifically about free to play and touches on topics centered around high level principles of game design and game economics, including some of the morals that we as creators bring to this and what we want our players to come out of it. This talk is not about premium games or early access games. It does not involve any hard math in terms of purchasing, and it's really not about capitalism at large either. So if you're not super interested in free to play, you can take the next 5 minutes to go to the bathroom or something. That's fine. I respect your time. Because if we're going to talk about free to play, we really have to start by asking what is value? What is a player experiencing in this game, and why do they keep coming back to that? Value is a measure of the satisfaction the player receives from their time in the game. And satisfaction is going to be key to the rest of this talk. So hold that in mind. And when we bring that forward to free to play, here's the value proposition for free to play. It's easy to access, has no cost of entry. Your experience scales with time. Most free to play games are a function of time, fun fact. And your experience scales with investment. For this talk specifically, we're going to be talking about investment in terms of money people are willing to spend into it and how that gets them benefits. And overall, the value proposition for free to play is really cool as both a player and a developer, because what you essentially have is a very small portion of your audience subsidizing the experience for everybody else. So you're able to reach hundreds of thousands of more people to play your game at zero cost to them. You could argue that free to play games, or at least the people who spend in free to play games, is kind of an act of radical kindness. That's a little bit out there, but think about it. So, when we look at investment and what people want to spend money on, you have to ask, well, once a player is in for free, how do you convince them to pay? And that answer is actually pretty simple. You clearly communicate that you are giving them more value. So, when looking at DLC for premium games is a really good example of this. The value proposition is we made more of the thing you like. If you pay us, you can get it. But ways to communicate value are super important when you're asking the player to spend money on it, particularly in your free to play game. So, you have to have a strong tutorial. You need to teach the player the game so that they know how to fully engage with the mechanics. You need to have compelling content which provides them the emotional core of what they are looking for via narrative, visuals, audio, themes, etc. A clear explanation of what is being purchased. So, how does this purchase further the player's experience with the base game? And lastly, supporting information for gambling. Things like drop rates, win chance, rarity distribution, loot tables. All of these will build a sense of value, perceived value in the player's mind, which will make them willing to drop money on the purchase. So, what happens when you fail to communicate the value? You have created a violation of the player's experience of the game. Without accurate and adequate information, the player cannot make a proper assessment of the purchase's value. A purchase with no value violates the player's experience of your free to play game. They are no longer satisfied, and it's no longer free. So, here's some violations of free to play. Targeting children, don't do it. Targeting people with addiction disorder, don't do it. Basically, targeting any kind of vulnerable population to sustain your game is pretty bad. Just don't do it. False advertising, I'm really going to harken on this for free to play games. False advertising also includes gambling systems that are not identified as such. If you put gambling in your game, you better treat it like gambling and you better get it regulated like gambling because otherwise, you're doing something illegal and immoral. You need to have proper support for this gambling because misleading information like incorrect loot tables or drop rates and other kinds of hidden odds further this duplicitous idea of the player thinks they're going to get something that they purchased for and then not. And lastly, a failure to deliver a purchase is straight up stealing. You can't have ethical monetization if you don't have functional monetization. A really good temperature check for these kinds of things is to see if your game complies with the guidelines of the system it is available on. Both Google Play and the Apple App Store have some pretty strict definitions for acceptable purchases and uses of monetization. Similarly, if your game is going to go live in the European Union, you have to comply to GDPR, which legally enforces certain criteria for clarity and honesty in digital transactions. But last, what is legal is not always what is moral. So I really encourage you to read through this list, and gauge your own feelings and reactions. Where do you draw the line? What is acceptable? What makes you feel cheated? Because when you work on a game with monetization that you don't agree with, that becomes a personal violation. And lastly, holding all of these ideas together, how can I prevent doing this kind of stuff and putting it into my game? To avoid these problems, you need to keep your players first. Always focus on their satisfaction, on how you create the most value for them and what their purchases get out of this. So, thank you. I'm Steven. Slides will be available on my website if you want to look it up, or shoot me an email later on to talk about this. Obviously, it's a really deep topic, and I only had 5 minutes, but I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.